Congratulations on those results. What stood out for you? Where should the focus be, do you think?
We are very pleased with overall results. Sales are up by 8%. On the one hand, driven by continued demand for our COVID-19 portfolio, but at the same time, we have seen a strong recovery of our base business. So very good news as far as the ongoing business is concerned, but I'm particularly pleased about the strong progress we have made in our product pipeline recently in the third quarter.
Mr. Schwan, when you look at, good morning, also from London, it's Francine. When you look at some of the, I think, things that are out of your control, it could be, inflationary pressures, it could be, of course, energy costs. Is there anything that really makes you worried about the future?
I think we are well positioned for the future based on our strong portfolio. And of course, our industry in general and our company is less exposed to economic cycles. The demand for medicines typically is less dependent on economic cycles. So I think in this sense, we have probably a structural advantage versus other industries.
Talk to us about the demand for COVID-19 tests as we build up to the winter season here. How do you see that changing fundamentally, if at all?
Yeah, very difficult to predict. Only back in July, I predicted that demand for COVID-19 testing would already decline in the third quarter. We have still seen relatively strong demand for COVID-19, and that was driven by the Delta variant. So we get surprised every quarter about new developments. So it's very difficult to predict. What I should say, however, is that the virus still will stay with us, with mankind, and as such, there will be, at least to a certain level, a continued demand for COVID-19 solutions, be it COVID testing or medicines.
Mr. Schwan, I want to ask you about those medicines. So Roche and, of course, your partner Atea had a bit of a setback when it comes to some of the viral medicine used to treat COVID-19. I know that has to be pushed back. If it gets pushed back into next year, where I think is the case right now, how much more will there be demand for COVID? Like, for how long are you expecting viral necessities to beat COVID-19?
I mean, to start with, we see strong demand for our antibody cocktails. We have seen strong demand in the third quarter. We have already orders in for the fourth quarter, so I see continued demand for antibody cocktails. However, there is a need for an oral medicine, an antiviral, which you can simply take at home if necessary, rather than taking an infusion at the hospital. And that's why the industry, including Roche, is working on such a medicine. As far as our collaboration with Atea is concerned, indeed, we are disappointed that this preliminary trial did not reach its endpoint. However, what we have seen is that for high-risk patients, there was a clear and significant reduction of viral load. So what we are doing now is that we are specifically looking at high-risk patients, how we design the trial going forward, and hopefully we'll see an effect for that patient group which is most in need.
Okay, talk to us about Ronapreve then. This is another antibody cocktail. What are you looking at in terms of capacity as you build out that production capacity into 2022?
As far as biologics are concerned, in general, worldwide capacities in the industry are limited. We knew that. That's why we build out our own capacity. We started already last year, and we have also worked together with partners to get their additional capacities online. Now, specifically for Ronapreve, for this year, we have taken all the orders we can produce, and now we are ramping up additional capacities for next year, and we are starting to take orders again for next year. But for this year, we are basically sold out.
You have a solid balance sheet? Or what about 8.7 billion US dollars on the balance sheet in terms of cash and short-term parts of the balance sheet? How are you putting that to play, do you think? Are you looking at acquisitions at this point? And if so, which areas are you looking at adding?
As far as our M&A strategy is concerned, we very much focus on bolt-on acquisitions where we can complement our product portfolio, our technologies. We are not going for big acquisitions. It's very much a targeted approach. And actually, you have seen exactly that kind of approach over the last quarter, where we bought a smaller diagnostics company to complement our portfolio. And you should expect a similar strategy going forward.